Bitcoin has seen an explosive breakout to 71.5k. Is this the start of the parabolic season? Let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, MegaWhale team, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all having an absolutely fantastic day today. Bitcoin has seen a parabolic breakout of the $67,000 resistance, resulting in a strong move to retest the range high of the 2-month-long consolidation. In today's video, we're going to be discussing topics such as the upcoming parabolic season, the short-term price action, the altcoin market and Bitcoin dominance, the total cryptocurrency market cap, and possible top signals for the macro charts, when we are expecting tops, and what are the signals you need to be watching for tops to be in. Before we do get into it, smash that like button, hit that comment button, and subscribe to the channel. We post daily videos of Bitcoin focusing on the facts, the data, the technical and the structural information. No hype, no BS, no emotion, pure raw TA. If that is the kind of content you are interested in, join us on Telegram. It is the first link down below. You'll get access to charts, updates, videos, educational posts, news events, and everything you need to stay in the loop of cryptocurrency, with Bitcoin and the relevant economic news. If you are interested in taking your trading to the next level, join us on VIP, where we post trading setups with exact entry prices, exact targets, exact stop losses, trade justification, exclusive analysis, and so much more. Look at all those profits we are printing just today alone. Let's go ahead, guys, and jump into the video. Make sure to go ahead and contact me in that free channel if you're interested in VIP. You can click my name here or find out more information there. Alongside the main VIP, you'll also get access to our group chats, our general chat, trading chart and education chat, trade setup, news, help, and daily video chat. Go ahead and check it out. Let's dive in. So Bitcoin has seen a violent move toward the upside, and we'll be talking to you guys about this for the whole month. Since the start of May, we told you we are expecting a move to the range high. Specifically, over the last 24 hours, we have been discussing that a break above that major $67,000 trigger point will result in a strong move, a very violent move, as we said in our prior video, toward that range high level. You can see the bullish trigger for a move toward the range high. So before we get into the video, a big congratulations to everyone who benefited from that move and paid attention to our videos. We really came out on top there. Let's go ahead and start on the market data. 24-hour volume is up 126%, sitting at 203 billion. 24-hour liquidations jumping up 249% at 326 million. Of the 326 million in liquidations, 75 million came from long positions, and a huge 251 million came from short positions as Bitcoin rallied aggressively to 71,000. Moving to the broader markets, the DXY is still sitting at around that base of support level. Again, 23 hours remaining on this candle. We're looking for, again, a breakdown over here for a continuation lower. If we do break below this trend line, we are expecting quite a significant drop on the DXY, which would be very bullish for traditional assets and for the cryptocurrency market. Again, looking at our technicals, we don't see any indication of a valid breakdown yet. We have not broken through this trend line, and we can see the RSI is still sitting above that uptrend, which coincides with our pivot points of the current uptrend on the price action. So again, we do not see any leading signs of a breakdown yet, and thus this is still going to be a solid area of support, and we are expecting potential bounces from this region in the short term. Provided these bounces do not result in the price getting back above this prior high point over here, we are expecting macro continuations downwards, and again, as we know, downward movements on the DXY is generally good for risk assets. Moving over to the broader markets, the S&P 500 with 3 days remaining on that weekly candle close is still challenging that prior local high of that high point in April 2024. Again, we do need to see a weekly candle close above this level to see that directional continuation upwards. This is acting as a bullish trigger point, which is also, again, a short-term resistance, preventing the price action to continue upwards. But if we do close that weekly candle above, that will facilitate a directional continuation. If we do zoom out, we do have our local low, which is going to be our higher low, which is establishing, or should I say, established a strong base of support at the $5,000 region. Again, any movement down from here towards that region, that fails to break below this area would be considered high time frame bullish and healthy corrections. It is only if 5,000 is lost will we expect directional continuations lower. So this range over here between this resistance and this support is a decision zone. The directional break, whether it be a directional break of the upper resistance or a directional break of the lower support, will determine the directional continuation. Of course, we are expecting and we are wanting to see a directional continuation upwards. Moving over to the Dow Jones, exactly the same thing. We have a high time frame bullish trigger and resistance and a high time frame bearish trigger and support at these levels. Levels of 37.7 to 38 and 40,300. A weekly candle close above either of or below these levels will result in directional continuations down or up depending on the direction of which it breaks. Until then, we are in a higher time frame consolidation range and we could see directional moves in either direction on the short term, provided our support or resistance is able to sustain. Again, a break of these levels will be the trigger for directional continuations in those directions. Let's go ahead, guys, and jump over to Bitcoin really quickly. We're going to be discussing really quick before we get into a video what we're going to be just talking about today. So we're going to be discussing what has happened in the last 24 hours with this rally. We're going to be going over the higher time frame range. Are we going to see breakouts? If we do, where are our targets? We're going to be going over the technicals on the immediate short term and discuss, what is going to happen here in the next 24 hours. We're also going to be going over the broader market and the higher time frame charts, discussing potential top signals. Not so much at the top is in now, but more so in a future date when we see those continuations upwards. What are we actually looking for to call tops? What are those top signals going to be? We're also going to be discussing why Bitcoin is about to enter and is entering the quote unquote parabolic phase of this cycle, and we're going to bring up a few indicators to go ahead and prove that. We're also going to be talking about the weekly chart in regards to Bitcoin and the total cryptocurrency market cap, and if we have time, we'll quickly go over altcoins. So let's go ahead, guys, and get in. Before we do, a quick word from today's video sponsor. I'd like to introduce our partner, BitUnix. BitUnix is a global, non-KYC, no country restriction exchange, making it a perfect exchange to trade on if you're from the USA, from Canada, the Netherlands, or just prefer to trade without KYC. This exchange is a futures and spot exchange with over 200 different trading pairs and some of the lowest fees in the game. If you sign up with my link down below, you'll get access to 15% off your trading fees, as well as an exclusive reward center where you can claim up to a multitude in USDT prizes. So go ahead and sign up with my link down below for 15% off, and I'll see you in there. Okay team, let's go ahead and dive into the video. So much to talk about today, guys. As we can see, Bitcoin have seen a fantastic short-term rally over the last 12 hours, breaking back upwards of this $67,000 resistance and midline to the range high. Now remember, guys, the midline level is the level of which, again, acts as the exact center point between the range high resistance and the range low support. It is not only a resistance and a bullish trigger, but it is a point of which classifies the trend of the price action, meaning above this level we are in a bullish trend towards the range high, and below this level we are in a bearish trend toward the range low. More so, however, when we are above the dotted trend line, the probabilities of a retest of the range high is greater than a probability of the retest of the range low. And that is what we've been saying over the last week, and that is exactly what we saw. So the big question is now, are we going to see that continuation upwards, or are we going to see a short-term rejection? And if we do see that continuation upwards, how high will Bitcoin go? And if we do see that short-term correction, where are we looking for bounces? So let's answer those questions on the short term. So starting off, we are still within this 2-month plus long horizontal consolidation. It's important to note that Bitcoin has seen a good move, but we are still underneath this major level of resistance. If we do draw a diagonal trend line here, however, we can see that Bitcoin has very slightly broken above this downtrending diagonal trend line as drawn from our prior two peaks. Now, if we do bring up the RSI on the chart over here, we can see On the daily chart, guys, on the daily chart, we had a bearish divergence from this peak to this peak, okay, with our price action. This was our first deviation above the range high. Our second retest of this level was lower than our first. This was our downtrend, representing again we had decreasing or negative momentum upon the second retest of this resistance, and this is going to be our third retest of this resistance, and in this instance we can see the momentum has been rising. So what do we see this time around is we are retesting this range high resistance now from a position of strength, as opposed to what we have seen in the past, which was a retest from a position of weakness. So this already increases the likelihood of a directional breakout of this resistance. Now, we are not expecting an immediate breakout, right? We've seen a very, very large move upwards. It'd be very, I would say, unlikely we see just a smashing break right through a green god candle to the moon, okay? It's very unlikely. We generally see the market respond to these resistances, consolidate, and then break through these areas, liquidating late entrants. So we'll be discussing that in just a moment. If we do zoom out, this channel, this 2-month-long consolidation has been a large consolidation. If we go ahead and do analysis really quickly of the depth of this channel, we can see it has been 21%. If we then go ahead and take that depth and apply it to a perceived breakout area, which is going to be the range high, we can see the directional move out of this channel could take us as high as 85,000 US dollars. So this is simply the measured move of the depth of the channel applied to the directional breakout or expected breakout point of this channel, which is going to be the range high. So we can see the larger these consolidations, and this is a large consolidation, the larger the expected directional continuation out of these consolidations we see. So a very, very high target there for Bitcoin. And again, without having to say, if we do see that break of this level, we will be entering price discovery, as we have not seen price higher than 73,829. If we do bring up that VRPV, we can see the VRPV again significantly drops off the level above that level, which indicates again price discovery. But more importantly, we enter a low historical resistance zone. A low historical resistance zone is a zone of which resistance is reduced because we have no historical sell orders, okay, which again is price discovery, which facilitates an environment of increased volatility. If we have increased volatility, okay, with positive momentum, this is the first time we are breaking into this region of positive momentum, plus the hype of entering a new all-time high, we are very likely to see that parabolic phase kick off and very explosive price reaction upon the breakout of this region. So we are expecting a breakout. The 85K is going to be that next target. We are now retesting this region from a position of positive momentum. Therefore, the probabilities of a breakout of the range high is significantly greater than any downside price action we will see. Let's now talk about the short-term price action, guys, and really jump into what is happening and what to expect next. We can see a very violent move upwards. Bitcoin has seen what? If we take a percentage, 8%, 7 to 8% rally over the last 12 hours right into this resistance zone. Now, although the price action is looking fantastic, particularly with the breakout of this downtrend, this is not the time to be aping into long positions on Bitcoin. You're probably thinking, well, why are you not bullish? I am bullish, guys. We would take our long positions down here. We would take our long positions down here. Our breakouts, this is resistance. No matter how probable it is for a directional breakout upwards, you always want to wait for these resistance levels to break, particularly high time frame resistances, before you look for continuations upwards. So while this area acts as resistance, and while there is a greater probability we do continue upwards on the higher time frame, we could definitely see short-term corrections here to flush out some of the massive leverage positions that were taken on this massive rally. So if we're looking for support levels, we have to zoom out a little bit and look historically, where did we find support on the prior move down, right? We look at this move, we look at this move here, and we ask ourselves, where do we find support on this move? And that is where we're looking for potential support in this instance. So zooming out over here, we can see we have a support sitting around the 68.2. I don't know why I brought the fib level. I was meant to bring up a horizontal level. The 68.2 to 68.5 to 68.6 level. That is going to be our area of support, and we are looking for an area of support around this local high point at around 70,000 to 70,100. These are going to be the two short-term support levels. So if we do see any sort of rejections here, we could be expecting a rejection to 71 or a rejection to 68 before a directional continuation upwards. That is provided we do see directional breakdowns. If we just see a break upwards, again, we are looking for, what have we not seen before? We have not seen a daily candle sustain greater than 2 days above this level, so we are looking for daily candle closes above this resistance to validate the breakout and expect these directional continuations upwards. Until then, it is an area of resistance. Now, what would the bears need to do to regain control in the short term? Bitcoin is in an uptrend. It is a very aggressive uptrend. For the bears to take control and to push the price down to like 52, 56, we need to break under 60,000. For us to break under 60,000, the probabilities need to shift back in favor of a range low retest, and for that to occur, the dotted trend line needs to break. Remember, only below the dotted trend line is a range low retest greater probability than a range high retest. So for the bears to take back control now, okay, they need to break the price under 67. So the downside risk is 67. The upside risk is basically the parabolic high, or the all-time high of the next cycle. The bulls are really in control now. Let's go ahead and zoom out to the weekly chart. The weekly chart is looking fantastic. We closed an amazing weekly candle yesterday, a very strong bullish engulfing candle here, engulfing that prior red candle's opening price at $64,050. Fantastic, which enabled the price action to propel upwards, and we have now seen a near weekly high for Bitcoin. Actually, this might be the weekly high candle. The highest the weekly candle is nearly going to be closing in 6 days if we close at this level. What we can see here, which a lot of people were scared of, was potential deviation. This is going to be our pi cycle high, the 60K region. This is our high point of 2021. We saw a break above the high point, which created the price high point, but we did not sustain as we broke back below the 60K pi cycle high point, creating deviation and officially ending the 2021 bull market. We saw directional continuation into a bear market from that point onwards. In this instance, a lot of people were worried we were going to see a reflection of what we saw here, which was deviation. However, we didn't. What we saw instead was even better. We saw a strong support resistance flip of the 60K region, which facilitated a directional reversal and macro continuation upwards. So on the macro chart, provided 60K holds, we are expecting this upside potential for Bitcoin. It is looking really good. The parabolic phase is warming up. Let's move over to the total market cap. We can see on the total market cap exactly the same thing, guys. Yearly level of resistance. This is the bull market resistance. This is now flipped as an area of support. This is now a yearly level of support, meaning while we remain above here, cryptocurrency as a whole is bullish. If we drop below here, cryptocurrency as a whole is in a macro downtrend. So provided we are above here, expect the parabolic phase to continue, expect the market to rise on the higher time frame. Fantastic stuff, guys. Let's go ahead now and discuss something that is very, very important. Are we now entering the parabolic phase? It is kicking off. If you remember back to a video we posted in 2021, I know, maybe a lot of people here weren't even watching the channel over there, but if you remember a video we posted, it was literally as Bitcoin was at around $16,000, guys. So that was over here on this candle. We told you from this point, according to the 12 bar theory, okay, we were expecting 12 months of macro uptrend, moving into a bull market. And then we were saying, and we said in the video specifically, that we were expecting the parabolic season of the 2024 bull market to start in May 2024. This is a prediction we made all the way back in November 2022. Not only did we call the exact bottom, we told you guys that we were expecting an uptrend from there and that we were going to enter the parabolic season in May 2024. And so far, that prediction has absolutely been fantastic. So let's talk about the parabolic phase. If we look at the prior cycles, we can see a blend of indicators that has been absolutely perfect, phenomenal at predicting these parabolic seasons. This is going to be the Pi cycle indicator and the Ichimoku cloud indicator. What we have noticed is every time the lower band of the Pi cycle breaks into the Ichimoku cloud from the bottom side up, from that point onward, okay, until a perceived high point, we see the price action remain, okay, above the yellow and green lines, which is the Pi cycle mid lines, which is the highest short EMA and low short moving average, until we create a pi cycle high. So what we see historically, okay, is when that pi cycle low breaks into the Ichimoku cloud. From that point onwards, the price action remains above the midlines until we create a pi cycle high. We can look back at prior instances. Again, when we break into that Ichimoku cloud for the first time, we see the price action remain above the pi cycle midlines until we create the pi cycle high. Again, guys, every single cycle, we have seen that exact pattern play out. Exactly the same. Now we can go ahead and add something to it. We can take a look at our vortex trend indicator. What we have seen is every time we create this pi cycle high, we also retest the downtrend in the vortex trend indicator. So that tells us two things. Number one, according to the vortex trend indicator, the top is not yet in. And according to our pi cycle and Ichimoku cloud blend indicator, we are not yet seeing the parabolic phase of Bitcoin. We are entering that phase. Actually, if we take another look at the indicator, what we have seen is that when we retest the upper level, the upper band of the pi cycle indicator, it is generally around the same time we are retesting that prior pi cycle high point. We can see over here, retesting that prior pi cycle high point, and we can see in that prior cycle in 2027, again over here. And generally when we see that and break back above it the second time, that is when we enter the parabolic season. So the parabolic season is very much just around the corner. The only thing that could damage this, according to these structural levels, will be a break under 60,000 on the weekly, and according to our technical levels, would be, okay, one thing, and that is going to be the weekly candle close underneath the pi cycle midline indicators prior to a pi cycle high, because historically we have only ever seen a breakdown of those midline indicators upon the creation of the pi cycle high and the vortex trend indicator retesting that downtrend. So if we see that pattern that we have seen 4 times play out invalidate, that could mark a potential early top for Bitcoin and a macro downtrend continuation. If we jump over to the altcoins really quickly, we can see the altcoin cycle is basically preparing for the parabolic phase. The parabolic phase is phase number 5. We can see phase number 5 only starts once phase number 1 resistance is broken. We can see, I have marked it over here, the parabolic phase above this resistance. We do quite still have some time before we enter that phase. And again, until number 1 is broken, there is always going to be a risk we do not enter that phase. But again, until we see that invalidation, the probabilities are still in favor of that directional continuation upwards. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a fantastic day. Very interesting price action of Bitcoin. But when we see these rallies, always remember, take profits, remain emotionless, do not FOMO in. We are now at a resistance. Resistance is resistance until it is not. The bullish move we were expecting has played out. It has played out now. It is done. It is perfect. Now we are looking for negative reactions from this resistance into potential bouncing points, and then the next bullish point, the next bullish continuation, we are only expecting when we break through this resistance, which we are expecting, mind you, but we could see those short-term pullbacks first. So thank you for watching. Have a fantastic day, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. We'll see you then. Bye.